Hello, hello. Oh man, yesterday was a late night, a little bit. I usually would like to sleep around 10 p.m., but yesterday I think I went to sleep around 1. Actually, looking at my watch, it's actually recording my sleeping time being around 12, so I'm really doing a terrible job of that. But I don't know, it's just the nature of who you hang out with and, ends up staying up later than normal. Pretty much playing some board games, it's pretty fun. I don't know. There's actually a plethora of online board games you can play. I was playing like One Knife Werewolf. That was pretty fun, actually. I haven't played that too much. And Codenames. It's a game that I play a lot, which is pretty fun. But I guess it's nice to explore different games sometimes, which is cool. But otherwise, waking up a little bit later today is around like actually it's around 10 right now. So I started off the day a little bit later than I want to, but I mean, I think I'll just be like editing the video from yesterday and posting that. And then I will have to get to work on some laundry. I think it's been quite a while since I've washed my bed sheets, so get around to doing that. And this morning I did get around to reading actually a little bit of The Accidental President, which now is really talking about kind of some post Germany actions. It's still right before Japan was pretty much being finished off in terms of World War II and before the atomic bombs were launched. And right now, President Truman is actually meeting with Prime Minister Churchill and the Soviet leader Stalin just to kind of discuss the Eastern Front in terms of Japan, which is pretty cool. I think it's actually quite a long book, so I'm like a little bit over halfway, but it seems like there's a lot to go. So it's kind of fascinating. I'm kind of curious on when they're going to actually drop atomic bombs. It's actually kind of interesting to think about because I think if you look at pretty much the war atrocities of the world, I guess because I am an American, we don't really talk too much about the atrocity of dropping 2 atomic bombs. I mean, for the most part, that is probably considered one of the greatest atrocities of our time, right? Atomic weapons are, for the most part, banned. There's only 2 uses of atomic weapons, which is by the U.S., each one killing like 100,000 people. So, and I think a lot of them were civilians, right? So, quite a dramatic war atrocity. Interesting to think about. We don't want to talk about too much, but I guess there's a lot of like moral implications written about it. Actually, like looking through the book, a lot of people were kind of wondering, like, is this something that we should like actually use? Is this something we should just give off as a warning? But what if we give off a warning, then who knows if it'll actually go off? And the scientists who create this like absolute monster of a device is, they're creating something that potentially like change the face of Earth. So pretty fascinating stuff. I don't think they go too much into detail with that, but I think it's quite the read. Reading about history definitely quite helpful. Yeah, so short little update, and I can't record anything while the laundry is going on because it's just super loud. So I think I'll see you a little bit later while I edit some of that footage from yesterday. Post that. Day 3, pretty good. Hello, I'm just here eating some dinner. It's, I don't know if you can see this too well. Pretty much there's onions, mushrooms, tofu, and soy sauce with the seasoning. So it's just normal vegetarian. Actually, this is vegan. It's a vegan dinner. Actually, it's pretty popular for me, I think. I like to have tofu often when I can get it. As I mentioned earlier, when I got groceries last time, it's kind of tough to come by tofu these days. But I guess I could get them from H Mart if I really want to, but they're a little bit more costly. But otherwise, end of the day on Sunday, pretty neat day. Actually, I guess these weekends are more tiring than I expected. Even though you can't go out, you are really accessible online. So I find myself just like video chatting from like noon till whenever. So I did get some chores done, did a little bit of laundry, got some workouts going, which is pretty cool. Did a little bit of breakdancing. Didn't film any of that, but I thought it was pretty cool. I guess I can, get a little bit better at it first before really like showing anything because, I'm just picking things up. And it's good exercise, so no complaints. Otherwise, I did talk to my cousins, which is pretty neat. People out there in New York are super locked down, so kind of sucks for them. Although, I mean, Seattle's been having it tough for a long time. I've been working at home for over 3 weeks now. And no end in sight, pretty much. I think it's pretty interesting, like how people talk about this all the time. It kind of balls up in you, I guess, when you go through a pandemic like this. It's just like it's always constant, it's always there, and you don't really forget about it because you really have to consciously think, oh, I'm logged in, and I have to wash my hands very rigorously. And when you go outside, you have to stay 6 feet away from each other. It's actually kind of incredible. And I think there is some kind of bond. Like there's something that we're all going through together. And I guess for some it could be annoying, for some it's like, "Ah, I just can't wait for it to be over," but it's kind of interesting, I think, that something like this happens. I mean, it's obviously incredibly terrible. It's kind of horrible to say that it's interesting, but it is a change in pace in life for the most part. And hopefully something good will come out of it. Maybe there's something that will come out in terms of being more pandemic ready in the future. But today I was pretty good about reading. I think in the morning I did do a lot of reading. I finished a chapter. I guess I can't say it's a lot of reading, but I did finish a chapter about Henry Truman. And what did the chapter go through? I thought it was, fascinating as usual. Pretty much, just thinking about the job of the presidency, right? This person like spends so much time in government, and he has to pretty much deal with foreign affairs as well, while balancing that with like national interests. So just looking at that guy, he's just like such a dramatic change from FDR to Truman, in that when you get to Truman, he's more of like the regular kind of everyday guy, but FDR comes from like a more wealthy lifestyle and families. So you kind of see the big shift, and the shift in government is just like huge. I can't really imagine having that kind of responsibility, so it's kind of interesting to read about, and I hope I can get through it quick. But this week, I'm pretty much looking forward to completing the book club, and really, I almost feel like I wish I had more time to myself, because I really feel like this is actually a great opportunity to connect with people, because when you're going through a tough time, actually that's probably the most opportunistic moment to actually connect with people, because you're kind of going through the same thing, and maybe some people feel especially vulnerable at this time because it's kind of a change in pace, so you can kind of set a standard really easily, which is kind of interesting. So I think it's like good to kind of power through and really connect with everyone who may be feeling vulnerable or lonely at some time. I can actually expect like after pandemic I might have more time for myself, because people will be going out there and meeting people they might usually meet up with, and now is really a time where you just connect with people that you may not necessarily normally connect with and feel most vulnerable. Actually, I do think that I can take a better approach in like reaching out to people that I may not necessarily reach out to most of the time, but I am like strong with the time constraint of who I can't. So I guess you go into these kind of decisions where you have a choice of who you want to connect with most, but I think it's worthwhile to really connect as much with people who you're close with. But yeah, I think I'm going into overtime now. I think I'm reaching almost 5 minutes. So maybe I might talk more about like how you build up connections with people, I think, in another time. But I think that's it for today. I think, maybe play a little more games later. So I'll see you later. Thanks for watching today.